You want to hear one of the most ridiculous stories about video games from the early 2000s? That's what we're about to talk about. Okay, so I know the help. Okay, so I know the helmet's a bit misleading. We're actually talking Halo, not Titanfall. I don't know a Spartan helmet though, so Cooper's gonna have to do. Side tangent before we get into this though. This is a bit of a sequel, follow-up, spin-off to that whole video I did talking about the weird feeling you get in the maps of Halo 3. If you didn't watch it, it's okay. You don't need to. It's just, kind of like helping with a little context of it. Kinda. You can just watch it here if you want. We're in a whole cinematic universe now. We're in the toasty cinematic universe, if you will. Now let's talk about the ghost of Halo 3 because it's just one of those weird things you just had to have been there for. Okay, so if you've been a part of the Halo community or at least watching just kind of random ass YouTube videos as long as I have, you may or may not have heard that there are supposedly ghosts inside of some of the earlier titles, specifically Halo 2 and 3. And no, I'm not talking the alien ghost motorcycle thing called a ghost. I'm talking actual spooky, ghosty, like paranormal Casper type stuff. The first recorded incident of this was on the map Lockout in Halo 2. It was recorded and uploaded to YouTube by two dudes named Antinoob and Underdog. Though their original upload has since been taken down, we know it was uploaded sometime in early 2006 since it was re-uploaded by user Meaner Strongbad, who you're watching footage here, in September of that year. Players didn't really know what to make of it at first. I mean, these videos would show just a random Spartan sliding around their map with no gamer tag. They weren't on the scoreboard. There were no real identifiable things at all for this guy. Hell, he didn't even have muzzle flashes when he shot, along with hit scanning grenades and bullets, and even sometimes just straight up being invincible. Other people started to record similar events and tried to replicate the ghosts appearing themselves. Most of these supposed sightings were on Lockout, and so most of the community figured Lockout has a ghost. But since, that's kind of a weird thing, the Halo community also just kind of started trying to figure it all out, including Antinoob and Underdog, the two original posters, were trying to debunk their own video. They tried to prove, because they didn't know what it was. But while they were sitting there trying to debunk it, a lot of videos came out of this footage, including the one by Meaner Strongbad. And everyone just kind of thought it was only on Lockout. That is until a clan called Hollywood Halo had two ghosts appear in one of their machinima videos on the map Turf. While giving a lot of credit to the theory that this is a glitch, it also proved it wasn't relegated to just one map. There was also one other weird rumor, legend, ghost thing in Halo 2. There's no video evidence to back it. At least if there is, I couldn't find it. You just kind of have to go off the word of forums and the Halo wiki. And there's supposedly a very aggressive ghost on the map Zanzibar that'll just drop fusion coils on players while also attempting to kill you, with the deaths all caused by not listed. But however, there are a lot of quote-unquote documented sightings that say the Guardians, but other people say, oh no, if it kills you, it's not going to say anything, you're just going to die. So take it with a grain of salt, just a little bit of salt. While initially seeing the videos of them is a bit perplexing and off-putting to say the least, it could have been chopped up to a bug caused by Halo 2's hellish development cycle, and that's a whole other conversation for a completely different time. But it got weirder because these rumors and sightings did carry over into Halo 3. Probably the most popular of which was the ghost of Blackout. Funnily enough, that was Halo 3's remake of Lockout from Halo 2, the original map where the ghost was sighted. The first evidence of this was uploaded by Solid Champ back in 2008, showing an orange Spartan in default armor gliding around the map, hit scanning players, and a weird melee animation. And even throwing plasma grenades on Solid while the ghost had his back to him. And that's kind of weird. I don't know. While this instance is more than likely a hoax, since the supposed ghost is seen messing with players, having some animations, and even being killable. Plus, this video itself links to a website called Project Mod Gaming. And if it doesn't get more mid-2000s than promoting your own website on YouTube, the video also has a Creed song playing the entire time. In fact, most of these videos have 2000s butt rock playing over them. maybe gamers don't deserve rights. Maybe we don't. While Solid Champ's link is dead and the Wayback Machine wouldn't load the archives, you can take a pretty good guess on what this site offered based on the name, but this didn't really dissuade believers. By this point, the whole paranormal community was developed within the Halo community, forming clans, trying to capture and better understand these ghosts. And that's just such a weird thing to think that there was ghost hunters for this game. When it came to these clans, starting off, the first one we're going to talk about is the now disbanded SRDP. They claim to have done extensive research into these sightings, claiming to have had actual encounters on Sandtrap, Guardians, and Valhalla. SRDB did extensive research into these sightings of alleged ghost on Sandtrap, which was described as an orange or yellow Spartan carrying an energy sword and Spartan laser that, according to the Halo fandom page, could kill a player just by looking at them. I'm not making this up. While I wasn't able to find any of their specific video documenting a pink Spartan and a Mark V helmet and EVA shoulders appearing but quickly disappearing, was captured by none other than popular Halo YouTuber General Kid, in which he admits the game was lagging and they were modding the map to work on a machinima he was a part of at the time. So, yeah. Another clan known as TGK were also doing extensive research into the supposed ghost. While they never provided anything substantial, they did claim to find, quote, half a ghost on Sandtrap. How you only find half a ghost, I'm not sure, but okay. As for the Guardian ghost, I was able to find 2 videos of supposed sightings, one where it's yellow, the other purple, but both wearing default armor and acting more in line with the traditional appearances of ghosts, sliding around the map and hitting players regardless of what direction they're facing. However, the purple one is odd, as it's the first time we see the ghost picking up items on the map, including invisibility and a mauler. There are also others that claim the ghost on Guardian is orange and red, and it rocks an ODST helmet, but hey, I couldn't find that. I don't see any evidence to support it. I wasn't able to find any kind of documentation of anything on Valhalla that wasn't obviously staged by a kid and his friends for early Halo and YouTube clout, but it's said to hang around that downed pelican, that one spot on the map, and it carries an energy sword, and though there's no evidence, it was the second most popular ghost at the time, only losing first to the ghost of Blackout. I mean, honestly, I kind of remember with a couple of buddies and I, we were trying to find the one in Valhalla because it was a base map. And it's just real quick, it's so weird that these ghosts were on DLC maps, all right? Like Blackout was a add-on map. This was back in the day, for those of you who don't know, before they had like free DLC, free map updates like they do now. Games would release like 5 or 6 maps for 10, 20 bucks. Blackout was one of those maps you had to pay for to download to the game that came out post-launch. So it's just weird to me that, that is where it started. DLC maps are where they were found. But getting back on hand, a modder on SRDP's website also claimed to have found coding on the maps mentioned earlier, as well as Blackout and Avalanche for these alleged ghosts. Avalanche being another, guess what, DLC map. The most notable thing about what this modder found was that he claimed Avalanche had 2 ghosts on it, one being a Spartan wearing a security helmet and the other being an elite in aesthetic armor, with that being the only known ghost elite, which, if you ask me, leads credence to the idea that these ghosts are leftover code of AI meant to replace players that quit multiplayer, similar to how Infinite has it now, but it was just kind of scrapped. But take that with a grain of salt because, again, Avalanche and Blackout were both DLC maps, so maybe not, I don't know. And now we get into the weirder, almost urban legend side of like things. This is like some real creepypasta conspiracy theory stuff, so put your tinfoil hats on. It's about to get weird. Supposedly, this is all like big alleged. Back when Bungie.net actually had forums for Halo and the community and everything, back before Destiny and they left Microsoft and all that weird stuff, there was a group called FLRN, or Flern, short for Fuck Larry Raw Nanners. Yeah, that's what we're gonna go with. This group would supposedly constantly find ghost activities on the map Snowbound and see the ghost rapidly change appearances. Supposedly, one of their research teams are trying to manipulate the AI of these ghosts for unknown reason. And do you see why I say this is like urban legend creepypasta type stuff now? But there's absolutely no video evidence or known archiving of their posts on Bungie's fucking forum. So it's all speculation. Because if you didn't know, when Bungie did away with Halo and started focusing on Destiny, they scrubbed their forums clean, and 343 didn't back any of them up. I know that there's supposedly some kind of project going on to preserve the Bungie forums back when it was for the Halo community. At least trying to find access to that, I couldn't find it, and if it is a thing, I highly doubt that they were able to archive these posts. But since, again, Bungie scrubbed Halo from their forums, all of this kind of faded into obscurity and internet mystery, and it's just kind of a legend out there. You want to believe that these guys were doing this or not? I mean, honestly, I'd buy it. My friends and I were doing weird stuff like this. Hell, I mean, we were looking for Ratman in GTA 4, and we were doing ghost hunts in Halo 3. It was just something that people did at the time. While ghost hunting was all the rage in the days of Halo 3, by the time Reach had rolled around, they were more or less non-existent in the same ways that they were before. With only one claim of note by 2 anonymous players during a legendary speedrun of theirs on the campaign mission The Package, claiming to have seen a white EVA Spartan with the testimony being, quote, "So me and my friend were doing our legendary speedrun, and we were near the door by the coordinates Auntie Dot gave you. I jumped into the room and saw a guy who didn't look like us. I swear to God, I was in shock and yelled, 'Who the fuck is this?' David, the other player, said it was a ghost. I immediately hid by a pillar, then a plasma grenade appeared in his fucking hand. He threw it while just standing there, not moving his hands. I ran, but it was like homing. It hit me square in the face and I died miserably before the grenade just exploded. David shot it, but it didn't die. He just vanished." Now that sounds like a very poorly written story now that I've read it aloud. I know this. There's no reason to keep it anonymous. It's just really the only instance of it happening in Halo Reach. Personally, it sounds completely made up to me, but it's also the only real story from Reach. And it's the first time a ghost had seeped from the multiplayer into the campaign, so take of it what you will. I think it's complete bupkis, but maybe you don't. Now, you may be wondering it by this point, why?
Why?
What caused all of this? And is it real? Did people really believe these games were haunted? And obviously, you have those people who take things at face value and, they just go with the fun of the idea, saying, Halo was full of spooky ghosties. Hell, I thought the same thing when I was a kid. I still kind of believe it now because it was fun, Like, it was one of those things you just had to be there for because there was nothing better than going on a sand trap at 3 a.m. with your boys, trying to find ghosts and scaring your friends. It was a great time, okay? Trust me, it was a real thing. People really did believe this. Again, they're fun stories to tell people that weren't part of the community at the time because it was really something you just had to be there for. I mean, you sound ridiculous saying it. I sound ridiculous saying it now. But it was a thing, 100%. Then you have the skeptics and the realists who, put out real theories and ideas and just kind of spoiled the fun of it. Shortly after the original video of the Ghost of Lockout came out, mods were made allowing players to replicate ghost behavior, which, yeah, it's pretty cut and dry, very obvious that was a thing that could be done. Another logical theory was it was caused by overloading Halo 2's engine while having a shoddy internet connection. The community at the time was actually able to test this and prove it to be the case, as it would cause players to load into the game as the quote-unquote ghost in Halo 2. The best example of this was actually Hollywood Halo's Ghosts on Turf Fighting video mentioned earlier, which is very, very obviously staged. It's staged. It's fake. But it was solid proof that you could easily replicate using ghosts. And the glitch can still happen today in the MCC, as shown by Ed here in his video recorded back in 2018. So it might have been patched by now, but at least as of 2018 in the MCC, it's still doable. As for the Halo 3 sightings, like the ones on Guardians, they were most likely hackers or the bug causing, the ghost in Halo 2 being carried over into Halo 3. I mean, we see the orange guy in Blackout acting similar to a player, and the purple guy in Guardians is picking things up. and playing the game like a real person. So it is more than likely hacks or the same bug got carried over somehow. Whereas General Kids on Sandtrap was more than likely caused by the heavy stress on the game's engine, and he admits in the video that they were using mods to edit the map, so Donut more than likely appeared due to a freak glitch caused by the mods. And things like the ghost of the downed pelican in Valhalla and the death staring ghost of Sandtrap, there is no known evidence of these even being a thing, aside from a guy who claimed he found code in the game for these ghosts and a now disbanded clan's website with the only source being "Dude, trust me." Then you have other things like this bubble shield activating by itself and similar things like that. It's a dude with active camo or placement issues. It can be easily recreated. Like, trust me, find a buddy, you could probably recreate this, no problem whatsoever. And by the time Reach came out, most players kind of figured out the science behind the whole ghost thing, and Bungie did their part to, patch the issues. They basically fixed the bug. Kind of. Because players were still able to recreate a similar yet not one-to-one replication of Ghost appearing in Halo Reach by overlaying maps in Forge and, again, having a shoddy connection. With the big difference being Reach Ghosts were on the scoreboard, but were always seen as being dead. They would be invisible in-game and not seen on the radar, but they would still be able to play the game. From their perspective, the game was still being played normally, and even operate vehicles, but the players that weren't the ghosts, the vehicles looked like they were just piloting themselves with no one inside them. And funnily enough, this was actually proven to be doable by General Kid, the same guy who gave us the Donut Ghost. And as upsetting as it is that, this whole part of the Halo community is just kind of gone, it was a fun time, and if you weren't there, you kind of missed out. If you didn't get into Halo until after the MCC came out, I'm sorry that you missed such a great time in online gaming. Because there were very few pleasures aside from, just hanging out with the boys and finding spooky ghosts. Like, it was just a fun time. It was a crazy thing that no one would have believed you about, but everyone just wanted the proof. I think that's gonna do it for this one. I apologize for my absence. I know I've been gone for a while. It's been a hectic time for me, but I'm back and I'm doing this stuff. So tell me what you thought, and if you ever found a ghost. I'm gonna go do something now. Follow me on the social media stuff. Shameless plug. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want. I love you. Bye-bye.